Hello! My name is Pei, and this is the only DT2 bosses guide you will ever need, especially if you're a newer player just like me. Desert Treasure 2 bosses are considered one of the most challenging encounters you can have as a solo, but are they actually that hard? Well, not really. While doing the DT2 quest, you're gonna have to fight the easier variants of all 4 bosses. After you're done, you'll have the option to fight normal and awakened versions. You really don't want to fight awakened ones unless you have decent gear and are specifically hunting for achievements or the Vardorvis skin. But you can always subscribe to my channel, as it's way easier than fighting the awakened versions. DT2 bosses are honestly so much fun and their drops are insane. You'll mostly get shit though, but if you're lucky, you'll get a decent drop with an upwards of a 50 mil, and if you're lucky you can get a Soul Reaper X part, an Altar Ring part, or any of the other best in slot ring parts. I cannot stress how important it is to finish this quest and get your hands on top of these 4 bosses. The quest variants have the same mechanics but much lower HP and damage, so you can use this guide for the quest variants as well. I've been postponing this for so long, thinking I'm not skilled enough and they'll knock me to the floor, but the reality was far different from the expectations. We're gonna start off with the easiest one. The Oxaculus is probably the most beautiful piece of engineering RuneScape has to offer. Just look at this pretty boy. You wanna fight him with melee, and if you can afford it, bring a BGS since this dude is tanky. As you'll see, I'm fighting him with the most basic pleb melee gear such as Fighter's Torso, Obsidian Legs, Dragon Boots, and a whip.
Hey Dad, that's a cool whip. Ah, I thought you couldn't understand me!
I'm also not mixed, so there's that. Bring trolls and your best pickaxe. The easiest way to reach Duke is by using the Ring of Shadows and teleporting to Gorok dungeon. From there, run north through the gates until you reach the asylum. Import the tile markers, which are linked in the description of the video, and in the Better NPC highlight plugin, put in the code 12198 under the True Tile IDs, as this will mark the vents and explosions for easier dodges. The fight consists of 2 phases. The prep phase, where you need to craft 2 potions in order to wake the Duke, and the actual fight. So once you're in, drop 4 to 5 food and pick up the pestle and mortar from the shelf. You need to run up the western stairs, pick up the shrooms and crush them with your pestle and mortar. The yellow tiles are basically your safe bet towards the shrooms. If you walk on the first yellow tile and then click towards the shroom, you will skip all the laser thingies that pop up from the wall. Very nice. You need 12 of the crushed substance in order to craft a potion, so if your herbalism is 80 plus, you only need to crush 2 shrooms. If you're a scrub like me and your herb level is lower, you'll need to crush 3 shrooms. You wanna do the same process on the eastern stairs as well. Watch out for the lasers and crush 2 or 3 of these shrooms and make your way back towards the gates. Now run and mine the salt in the middle of the room. You need 12 of these as well. Watch out for the toxic vents. Make your way towards the fermentation barrel and craft the potions. You'll click to add the materials and then you'll pick up the potion. Just do this 2 times until you have 2 potions in your inventory. Destroy the extra materials that you have and then pick up the food you've dropped on the ground. It's time to rumble. Duke has 3 attacks. The slam, which he'll do throughout the whole fight, which you need to pray melee against and hide behind either one of these 2 pillars. This weird eye thingy, where you also just need to hide behind either one of these pillars, and toxic explosions, which you need to run away from. Make sure you're potted up, equip your BGS and watch out for vents, as they can still pop up from the ground. Use both potions on Duke and hide behind the pillar. You wanna fight him in a way that you land a hit and then immediately move behind the pillar. You're gonna use this tactic throughout the whole fight. Hit, move back. Hit, move back. Hit, move back. After every couple of attacks, he'll shoot a ball of toxic gas, which you need to avoid by running to the other pillar. He's gonna shoot 1 ball if above 50% HP and 2 balls if below 50% HP. And that's it. You can easily do a few kills per trip, as it's a really easy boss with really good drops. Enjoy the full fight and hope you get spooned. This right here is some next level nightmare fuel. The Whisperer is a siren, best fought with full on magic gear with some ice barrages. For a decent reference, check out the RuneScape Wiki strategy page for recommended equipment. The fastest way to get to her is by using your Ring of Shadows and teleporting to the Undercity. Afterwards, just use the teleporter to go to the cathedral. If you don't have the Undercity teleport unlocked, you can reach it by using a Mind Altar tablet, run east and enter these ruins. Afterwards, just run slightly northwest and climb down the rope. In addition to your standard standard equipment, you'll need to bring a Blackstone fragment which you'll get after the quest completion, and you'll use it to enter the Shadow Realm on each of her specials. You'll also need some form of a fast range weapon to kill the ghost during one of her attacks. Venator bow is probably the best weapon here because of its passive ricochet effect, but any other fast range weapons such as blowpipe or even darts are good. You can also bring a weapon which can reduce the boss's magic defense, such as the Accursed Scepter or a Circle. Any magic boosting potion will increase your DPS slightly as well. This encounter has a special mechanic called Sanity. If the Sanity bar depletes to 0, you die. Each time you get hit by either one of her attacks, you will lose a chunk of your sanity. If you're in the Shadow Realm, your sanity will gradually deplete, so it's important to complete her specials as quickly as possible. The Whisperer has only 2 regular attacks. She will attack you with a combination of 3 ranged or magic attacks which you need to pray against, and she will spawn these tentacles from the ground after the above mentioned attacks, which can go either diagonally or horizontally and vertically. You can avoid the diagonal tentacles by stepping a tile in either horizontal or vertical direction, and you can skip the horizontal/vertical tentacles by stepping 1 tile diagonally, anywhere. Her attacks are actually set combinations in a sense that during the first phase she will launch either 3 magic attacks in a row or 3 ranged attacks in a row and spawn diagonal tentacles. After her first special attack, she will launch either 2 magic plus 1 ranged attack or 2 ranged plus 1 magic attack and spawn diagonal tentacles. After her second special, she will still launch either 2 magic plus 1 ranged or 2 ranged plus 1 magic, but this time she will do a combination of diagonal and horizontal/vertical tentacles. After all 3 specials, the Whisperer will launch either magic ranged magic or ranged magic ranged missiles and spawn both versions of tentacles. So to recap, beginning of the fight, it's mage or range plus diagonal tentacles. After 1 special, it's mage range or range mage plus diagonal tentacles. After 2 specials, it's mage range or range mage plus diagonal or horizontal and vertical tentacles, and after all 3, it's mage range or range plus diagonal or horizontal/vertical tentacles. When she reaches 80, 55 and 30% HP, she will perform a special attack. After every special, she will freeze you and try to hit you with melee. This is the part where you wanna freeze the boss. Whenever she's about to do a special attack, you need to click on your Blackstone fragment to teleport you to the Shadow Realm. The first special is called Screech, and Whisperer will teleport to the southern end of Cathedral and gather energy for 3 screeches. Floating columns will emerge from the water to block the incoming attacks. The pillars have 20, 40 and 60 HP, and you need to hide behind the 20 health pillar first, then 40 and then 60. The second special is called Soul Siphon, and the Whisperer will appear in the center of the room and summon 12 ghosts. You only need to kill 1 set of ghosts to avoid taking damage, so the fastest way to complete this special is to just kill the 2 yellow Vita ghosts. The third special is called Corrupted Seeds, where Whisperer will again appear in the center and scatter corrupted seeds around her. You must step on all the light green seeds to stop the attack. Upon reaching 0 health, the Whisperer will enrage and heal 140 HP and pull you to the Shadow Realm. In this phase, she will alternate between ranged and magic every 2 attacks, and she will always start with range. In this phase, all you need to do is pray correctly, hit the boss and run away from the single tentacle spawns which appear around the room. Of course, there are advanced methods on how to avoid tentacles in the enraged phase more efficiently, but it's not really needed, as you can still avoid all damage and get a perfect kill just by running like a headless kamikaze, which is in my opinion way more fun. Hopefully this fight overview will give you all the info that you need. Best of luck! Leviathan is a large sea creature found within the Scar, which is, in my opinion, one of the best looking arenas in the game. You wanna fight Levi with ranged, and what's better than a trusty dragon crossbow with good old elite void? I'm poor. You'll also need any type of shadow spell for the fight. I personally just bring Shadow Barrage, the most expensive option. Since I didn't get the Scar tablet as a drop, which essentially gives the option to use the Ring of Shadows to teleport to the Scar, I'm reaching Levi by using a Necklace of Passage and teleporting to the Wizard's Tower, making my way into the basement and using the blue portal. From there, we need to talk to this guardian and travel to the Scar. Run east and travel with the rowboat. Import the tile markers, which are linked in the description of the video. Need the Better NPC highlight plugin. Put in the code 12220 under the true tile IDs, as this will mark the white orb which you need to stand in during the last phase of the fight. You're gonna see quite a few tiles in the arena, but they're really simple. These 1 tiles are used to dodge his lightning special, and these 5 tiles are used to dodge and place the falling rock special. Levi uses a volley of rapid firing attacks which deal damage upon impact, and protection prayers will fully block these attacks. The lure on its head will change colors accordingly as another indicator of the attack style it is using. So you need to pray mage against the blue orb, range against the green orb, and melee against the orange orb. Every new volley sequence will be faster than the previous one, and at first he's going to attack with 2 attack styles and then switch it up to all 3 styles. This obviously means that every upcoming sequence will be harder and you're gonna have to sweat more, but there's a way to avoid that. At any point during his attacking sequence, you can use a shadow spell to stun the boss and end the phase. The sequence of attacks are as follows, and I usually stop the boss on 3rd or 4th sequence, but this really depends on how comfortable you are with prayer switching. At the end of each volley, Levi will drop some rocks around the arena which you need to move out of, with one falling down exactly where you're standing as a permanent spawn for the remainder of the fight. Once you barrage him, he'll stop attacking, and what you need to do is run behind him and send a cheeky ball towards his spine. It's recommended to have game chat on during this encounter, because when you attack him from the back, Levi will do one of his 2 special attacks, and you'll know which one by looking at the game chat. The first special is called Lightning Barrage, and there are 2 ways to avoid it. You can just run in a circle around the boss and Bob's your uncle. Like almost every other ground attack in RuneScape, this one can be skipped as well if you time it correctly. Think of RuneScape as a rhythm game. The faster you learn how to count ticks and listen to sound cues, the easier it will be to time attacks and skip certain mechanics. The way I do it at Levi is, I position myself on one of the 4 tiles around him and I wait for the initial attack. You wanna start running towards the other tile as soon as he's about to drop the lightning on the ground. This is probably the hardest part of the skip, but you'll get the right timing after a few tries. After that, just listen to the sound cues and run to the other side every 5 of his attacks, like so. Once you get comfortable with the timings, you can sneak an attack when your true tile marker is on the yellow marked tile. The second special is called Smoke Blast, and Levi will spit debris at your location which stay there permanently. After 10 debris, he will discharge a Smoke Blast, and you need to hide behind one of the debris to avoid damage. It's usually recommended to line those in a way that you leave one spot open for accessibility, but as long as you avoid debris and don't take damage from the discharge, who the fuck cares? Upon reaching 20% HP, the boss will enrage. Debris will constantly fall from the sky, he will attack you with magic and ranged, and this white looking orb will spawn somewhere in the arena. You need to stand inside the orb's area, as this will make you immune to his attacks if prayed correctly, and you're going to get an increase in both damage and accuracy. Good luck! My favorite DT2 boss is definitely Vardorvis, and that's not because I got spawned an X part in my first 100 KC. The fight is just so cool, the arena is cool and boss is a freaking vampire. Also, the fight is really chill in a sense that once you learn how to somewhat efficiently skip X's, you only need to move between 3 tiles for the duration of the whole fight. You wanna fight Vard with your best / melee gear. I'm using the drippy old school fighter's torso and a whip, and in all honesty, it's enough. If you have a good special attack weapon that does a lot of damage such as burning claws, or a void waker, I have burning claws and they're so nice because they can stack burning damage as well. Also, bring trolls. The easiest way to reach Vard is by using your ring of shadows to teleport to the Stranglewood and run all the way west past these numerous creatures that will definitely drain you a little bit of HP. If you didn't unlock the teleport, the second fastest way is to use a fairy ring code BLS and run west to the rowboat. From there, run all the way west to the entryway leading to the ritual site. You wanna pray melee for the duration of the whole fight, unless this tentacle spawns from the ground and hits you with ranged. You need to pray ranged against this, otherwise it will disable your prayers for a few seconds and Vardorvis will stomp your ass. Vard will dash towards you from time to time, leaving a few tentacle spawns from the ground. Just move away from those. Occasionally though, Vard will try to suck your blood, and all you need to do here is click on these red blobs like there's no tomorrow. Now for the fun part. These flying axes will constantly spawn and fly through the arena. They can spawn in between each one of these pillars and can cover every direction in the arena. The amount of axes thrown is dependent on his HP, so if he has more than 690 HP, 1 X will spawn. If between 231 and 690 HP, 2 X's will spawn, and if below 231 HP, 3 X's. Tile markers are pretty important here, and you wanna highlight the X's and the tentacle as well. Take a look at the description of this video for that info. For this encounter, I highly suggest that you learn how to X skip, as it will make the whole fight basically brain dead. I mean, you can run around the arena like a madman, but you'll probably get clipped by X's more often, and you won't last more than 1 kill since it will drain you a lot of supplies. You're probably going to find a lot of different combinations of tile markers and how to skip X's in other guides or videos, but this is what worked for me and I just went with it. So I just stand in this tile for the duration of the whole fight, and unless there's an X flying for my head or unless Vard dashes and leaves a tentacle under me, I don't move. So the X skip is actually really easy. Wait for the X's blue tile marker to basically get next to your character, then just move to another marked tile. Here are a few examples. So just as about the blue tile marker would reach my character, I immediately click to an adjacent marked tile. Same here as well. If the X's would spawn in both of these areas, you can skip the X before it even launches. So just as the X is about to launch, move to the adjacent marked tile. It's just a feeling you're going to get after a few tries. And that's basically it. If you utilize these 3 tiles correctly, most of the time you won't even have to X skip, as you'll be able to predict their direction and just move to the correct tile and avoid it. The enrage phase gets a bit tricky, as you'll continuously spawn X's and tentacles, giving you very little wiggle room. This is where you'll need to utilize the X skip a bit more, but it's nothing you can't handle. My full fight overview will give you a few extra skips which aren't really necessary, as those X's can be avoided just by stepping aside to another marked tile, but they might come in handy when things get nasty. So hopefully you get spawned just as I did, and I wish you all the luck in your DT2 boss grind. I'll see you in the next one. Peace!